Hi everyone, it's Derek from the Are You Ready podcast here, and this is my reaction to the 2-1 win against Livingston in the Premiership today. Probably going to be quite a short and sweet podcast because it was 3 points and that's about it. That's the best I can take from it because the performance wasn't great. Our decision making at times, largely for most of the game to be honest, was pretty dire, and pretty much every chance that Livingston had came from our mistakes that we've all seen time and time again. It's going to be a long process. It wasn't pretty. We are going to win games, hopefully, well, where it's not going to be pretty. This, I think, falls into that category. However, there was 4 changes from the last game. Obviously, we've suffered quite a few injuries over the international break. We lined up with Butland, Tavernier, Jigger, Fernandes, Mighoma, Raskin, Diamande, Asgard, Gassama, Ant-Man and Danilo. On the subs bench, Kelly, Inciala, Aarons, Barron, Rothwell, Curtis, Cameron, Barami and Miovski. So, interesting that Fernandes getting a start again. I can't remember when the last time he started. However, we started off pretty positive. There was a lot of quick passages of play, 1-touch, 2-touch passing. Really good to see. We were positive, we were quick, we were pacey, played with tempo, and we got the goal on the 9th minute from a set piece. Now, set piece man straight in the door, and we've scored our first goal with a set piece, so it'll be interesting to see if he was the architect of this one. However, it was a corner from Tavernier from the right into the middle of the box. Fernandes breaks free of his marker and runs to meet the ball, and a great header into the net. Fantastic goal all round, great delivery for a change as well, and it was just the way that he broke his marker. He's a massive guy as well, I think 6'5" or something like that, so he was always going to be there or thereabouts to get the ball, so a really good goal, that one there. 13th minute, Danilo done well to win the ball back in the Livingston half. A nice cross on the deck for him to slide it to Gassama, who takes it into the box. A scuff shot and the keeper saves. It was ruled offside in any case. 17th minute, Gassama on the left. Some nice play after a pass by Asgard. Cuts inside and has a shot but well wide. Poor from Gassama there. Good from Asgard, but probably the only thing he done all game. However, on the 18th minute, Livingston drew level from a move that we've seen time and time again. We lost the ball in the Livingston half. It was a 60-yard long punt up the field over the top of our 2 centre-backs. The attacker gets between them. Butland comes out. He kind of hesitates. He stops and the ball was slid past him. So from losing the ball and well into the Livingston half to the simple long ball up to the poor defending by the centre-backs, and also I think Butland has to share a bit of the blame for this as well because he kind of hesitated. All round goal, really pathetic to lose. And from there, we just stopped doing everything positive we were doing in the first half. There was not really pressing, there was no quick 1-2 passing play, there was no tempo in our game, and we did nothing. We were in control, absolutely. But every time we got forward, we were taking that extra touch and it allowed them to regroup, and you knew how Livingston were going to set out. They're always playing like this, really stuffy at the back. That's fair play, that's their prerogative, but we've got to be mindful of that, and once again, we were just playing right into their hands. Any time they were getting forward, it was all because we lost the ball, and we were playing some really poor passing today, especially in the first half, playing the ball too short. I don't know if it was a case of the ball was sticking on the park or it was just we were trying the short pass and it just wasn't working out, but we lost the ball so often today. On the 20th minute, there was a corner from the left to the back post. Fernandes with a header, but right at the keeper this time. So on the 21st minute, a piece of controversy because there was a quick break from Livingston down the left. There was a cross in, a mix up the back, and Fernandes ends up blocking the shot. Now, from the TV angle, it definitely looked like a handball. No players were claiming for it though, which is the interesting thing. Tom Miller says that it hit his thigh, but Tom also says things like that his touch is true, whatever the hell that means. He says it every single game. I've seen a replay back, I'm really not sure. It may have came off his knee first, but we might have got away with one at the same time, and granted that's the only angle that we've seen. However, VAR has came out after the game because obviously there was a wee bit of controversy about it, and they did say that they've seen it hit off the body first, so it's not an issue. So In the rules, if it hits off your body first and then it hits off to your arm or your hand, then it's not a penalty. So, might have been the slightest of nicks from the camera angle we've seen. I would love to see another angle to clear that up. This is where the whole VAR thing comes into question, because there was no stoppages and they've obviously reviewed it as the game has been playing on, and we've not seen anything afterwards. So, this is one of the things that maybe needs to get cleared up by VAR if they're looking at things like this, especially for handball. There's other angles out there that they've seen and we haven't seen that needs to be getting broadcast onto the TV as well. So we'll see what Sportscene says about that. Obviously Michael Stewart had his say about it. That's despite after the VAR team coming out and saying it hit off his body first, but Michael Stewart's an utter plum. However, that's how the half ended out. Really, there was nothing else that happened in the game in the first half. Second half, we made a substitution. Asgard came off and Miovski came on. He done absolutely nothing. Really, as I said, that one piece of play. The second half was an absolute bore fest. We done absolutely nothing really up until the last 10 minutes. 64th minute, Ant-Man off and Barami on. 70th minute, a quick break with Barami on the left. Tried to feed the ball through. It broke off the leg of the defender. A bit of fortune, and it comes to the intended target of Gassama. And rather than shoot, he cuts it back and then tries to bend it round a now crowded box with his weaker foot. Shoot it first time on his stronger foot. I really don't get that. The only thing he done was allow more defenders to get into the box. Pathetic decision making. 71st minute, a quick break by Livingston after Tavernier playing funny buggers with the ball in our half. They went 1v1 with the keeper and Butland makes a big save with his legs, a let off there. And we finally got the second goal in the 78th minute with Diamande scoring. It was a long ball over the top by Tavernier. Miovski breaks and goes 1v1 with the keeper. The keeper comes out. Miovski managed to toe poke it to Diamande, who tapped it in at the empty net. It was initially ruled for offside, however it was clearly onside, and then a VAR check overturned the linesman's decision and the goal stood. Mikoma came off on the 84th minute and Aarons came on. 89th minute, Gassama and Diamande came off and Cameron and Barron came on. And after 8 minutes of injury time due to a bad head knock for one of the Livingston defenders, we finally seen out the game. So as I said, it wasn't pretty, but it was kind of get the 3 points, chips and Haim type affair. So it's something to build on. You can spin it where we've managed to grind out a result and kept on going. I think that's maybe been a wee bit favourable on the team, to be honest, but I think there's been several individuals that really need to buck their ideas up. They're getting given a chance just now while the manager's pretty fresh. They'll be playing for their position in January if we're getting money to spend. We need to get better quality players in. Some of these players, they initially shown something good. We will wait and see how that turns out. So the next game is on Thursday. It's at 8 o'clock. It's in the Europa League and it's against Sporting Braga. So we're at home. We'll see what can happen there. Our form in the Europa League has been diabolical. Let's just hope we can try and get the 3 points, or at the very least, get off the bottom of the table. David Wright will be back with a post-match after that game. Our latest main pod, just came out there yesterday, and you can listen to that on all usual podcast outlets. So all there's left to say is thanks for listening, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and goodbye.